Okay, so I'm gonna go to James, chapter 1. It's something that we have to remember. Okay, that once again, as I mentioned before in Ecclesiasticus, as as it say, when you genuinely come to serve our God in truth and sincerity, you must prepare your soul for temptation. This is James 1 and 13. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then, when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death, as we mentioned before in Romans 6. Okay, the wages of sin is death. Okay, you know, why I want to go back to why I went here is because that's the situation that we're dealing with. Even when, like I said, when I spoke to another family, and they were like, that was your intention the whole time. Like, no, my dealing with this occurrence or whatever. Them speaking, wasn't my intention to, be disorderly or anything like that. It was to, but it was in my intention to address something that I felt, what was wrong. Okay, but and once again, even though I initiated it with scripture and with a modest and humble uh, tone and initiation of it, the response that I got is what um, escalated, and so it's what caused the escalation of the situation into this dispute that could have totally been avoided had I remembered to examine myself and had I remembered whose name that I'm coming in and who it is that I represent. Because you can feel like you can handle things and do that, but once again, if you remember Ephesians, you are not wrestling with flesh and blood. All right, this is a spiritual battle. So you are dealing with once as why I went into to Matthew about when you're not coming in the name of the Messiah, and when you're not with him, then you're against him. So when you're dealing with people that aren't with him, okay, you're dealing with people that are against you, because it isn't, as I went to in John, it isn't you that they hate. It is him, because you are doing and following him and actually doing what he has said for you to do. His ways and his word, which is of the Father. Okay, that's why they hate you, because they don't know him that sent our Messiah. Okay, they don't know the Father. All right. Um, so when you're in this, you must remember that in every situation. Um, every every situation. Let's go to so that is so when even with disputings, like as we went as I mentioned with Second Timothy, okay, as we just go talked about here, okay, um then when lust have conceived, it bringeth forth sin. Okay, so let's go to Second Timothy. I'm gonna go back there. All right, because this is 2:16. All right, so but shun profane and vain babblings, for they will increase unto more ungodliness. Okay, so if that it would be the case, once you see, so also, I'm gonna go to Matthew. Matthew 5 and uh let's see. Okay. So something to remember also. Okay, Matthew 7 and 6. All right. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rent you. Okay. So when you're dealing with a situation where as though you already know the uncleanliness of people, and even in other attempts to get the truth, and they have all, so you have to take your learning experience and remember who you're dealing with, once again what you're dealing with, and take with you the whole armor of God. Okay, because then you know, you have to um you can't, like, it also ties into Proverbs, like trying to speak wisdom to a fool is, it can cause um you I would get that. I don't want to go too far off, but so you can't, so you have to remember who you're dealing with, and what you're dealing with, and you do always have to speak though as the oracles of God. But what you must also remember is to shun vain babbling. So once you attempt to do something in righteousness, because some things you have to address, like in, for example, with this situation, it had to have been, there was no way that it could not have been, but it's just a matter of how you do things. So you have to remember, like, once again, when it, many times have with these particular parties have I because I live my life to the best of my ability by the word, and so it is isn't this is like a constant thing dealing with these people. So when you know that, you have to equip yourself as such. When you know that people are not coming in the name of the Messiah, and that their main focus is to accuse, all right, or because once again they are not willing to change, and that isn't their intention, and they know you from then whatever, so and pride comes into it, so you trying to you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it all ties into that. But so cast not your pearls before swine. So what you do is you must shun and avoid vain babblings and things, because then it just increases when you attempt, and the response you get is wickedness, which you know then you need to then shun any further vain babblings, because it becomes vain, because I think I do need to get that in Proverbs. Okay, yes, absolutely. All right, so this is Proverbs 15, and I'm gonna get a couple of other things here. Okay, so this is Proverbs 15 and 10. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. Okay, but that really was the main point that I wanted to get to. With the correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way. So somebody that has forsaken the way of the Most High, they especially when pride is a huge factor. So they certainly don't want to hear it coming from once again someone. It could be family or your people that know you, whatever. Um, just as the scriptures say, like a prophet is not without honor, um, in their own land or in their own city. I don't like to misquote scripture, but it's that's what I mean. It's not to say that I'm any prophet or anything like that, but it's just like when you're coming in the name of the Most High, and you have changed, and people see you, and now you're speaking as what we're commanded to do as the oracles of the Most High, then it becomes offensive to them, and it's like, so any kind of correction, like, there's a way to do things, but sometimes things need to be done. That's just how it is. Some things but it all ties into, let's just go to, I'm going to go to verse 12. A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise. All right, so they don't, a scorner isn't even going to come to the wise. They don't even want to deal with it, okay, anyway. And they certainly hate reproof, all right, 100%. But somebody of wisdom will love that, as the scriptures tell you, and they will, get more understanding. Okay, but I also want to so once things when you get into a situation and you see that it's carnal, it's become carnal, it becomes vain. Okay, at that point, there's no point to it. There's no point in going to somebody who's foolish, who has forsaken the way. You already know that, who certainly you know what I mean, is a scorner and a scoffer and a mocker of the word, and don't really consider the word the epitome um of what Matthew speaks about with the Messiah. Says, "Or these people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from them." As we have mentioned before in Hebrews 4, okay, this word is a discerner and a sword, and it cuts through, okay, and it discerns the true intentions and thoughts of and intents of people. So, once you know that, okay, any kind of intelligent conversation, even when it comes to the word with someone like that, is vain. It becomes there's no point to it. There is no point. So that is what you shun and avoid, okay? Especially when things turn carnal. Usually this will let's go to verse 1. So when a situation like that comes, okay, because that it only it will increase to ungodliness, as we read in Second Timothy. Okay, so 15. So you must use wisdom. Equip yourself with the armor of God and use wisdom. So a soft answer turneth away wrath. Okay, but grievous words stir up anger. Okay, the tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. Okay, so I'm gonna go to verse 3 though, but so that's what you have to remember. Once you see things, you have to remember what you're going into, and it's a spiritual thing. When things become carnal, or you see that wisdom is just totally being regarded and trampled underfoot and trodden underfoot because you're casting out pearls before swine, and then you have to use wisdom, especially in a situation that you can't avoid. Like I said, some things you have to address. You're living in this world amongst these type of people and things like that. So, once again, offenses are going to come. And so this is what we have to remember here. Even if something, seems or is rude, or you get that certain type of response, you must remember those things. And then you have to use wisdom, which is this word. So give a soft answer, okay? And that will turn away wrath. And it does, okay? It definitely does. But even still, regardless of whatever, do this. But let's remember this here. Okay, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. Okay, so he sees, all right, and that goes into remembering, okay, that that's where that faith comes in. That regardless of the offenses that come, he is going to recompense righteous judgment and things like that. So you have to remember that he's got you. Something that I want to get on that note, remembering that, let's see. Okay, so yeah, this is First Peter. I'm gonna start at chapter. I'm going to First Peter chapter 3 verse 8, but and tie this into once again, like I said, because in this situation, this was something that had to be addressed. So if it's something, because we do have to go out into the world and we do have to interact with people, and you aren't always going to get the respect and the reverence as a brother, or that love from your brethren that you would expect or that you would give. You're not going to always get that. So sometimes, once again, um, that reproof or correction can be offensive to people. Like I said, especially um, family, or just people in general that are not willing to change, and that just aren't right. So regardless of the response that you get, you have to remember what you're dealing with, and that it this isn't exactly a fleshly battle. It's spiritual. These people, we're dealing with spirit, like I said, spiritual wickedness in high places. So these spirits know how to tempt. That's the whole thing. And just as we said in Second Timothy, okay, chapter 2, okay. So once things become carnal, and it'll only escalate to more ungodliness. So you have to use wisdom. So as Proverbs tells you, a soft answer turns away wrath. So just because somebody gives you a rude or unloving response, when you're just simply trying to make a resolution to things, um, then you have to remember that. And also, there are many misunderstandings and miscommunications a lot of times with people. Once again, based on their intentions. Also, as that's just what it is. And so, you know, like I said, slanders and all these type of things are going to come when these are all part of the temptations that you have to deal with when it comes to really trying to serve the creator of heaven and earth in truth and sincerity. And so remember that even if someone responds, the old you have to remember that that person is gone. So if somebody is rude to you, you don't your response shouldn't be you can't let your emotions see, as I mentioned before, and I like to mention, um wisdom over emotion. Okay, that is very important. So you have to use wisdom. So a soft answer turneth away wrath. So regardless if it looks like they, carried you or whatever, still remember who it is that you're supposed to be representing and respond as such. And so a soft answer turneth away wrath. And so let's go to 1 Peter 3:8. Okay. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Love as brethren. Be pitiful. Be courteous. So something also to keep in mind. Once again, you remembering people that are walking in darkness. All right. That are still blinded. Okay. And that the whole world lies in wickedness. So you have to be compassionate too, and remember. See, this is why the word is so important to keep in you, because once again, even as with myself in that situation, had I reflected on these things and remembered this, then absolutely things would have been prevented and avoided. All right. So remember that. Okay. Be compassionate. Okay. One of another. Love as brethren. Be pitiful. Be courteous. Okay. Remember what the Messiah says too about, if you're showing love to only your brethren, the publicans do the same. Okay. So that's why it all goes into loving your enemy. Okay, even still. And once again, this is something that you must remember. All right. So not rendering evil for evil. Okay, so just because someone is rude and you initiate things in a the way it should be, but the response that you get is rude, you have to remember all these things, and that you're not to render evil for evil. Okay. Yeah. Not rendering evil for evil, or railing for railing. Okay, and what is railing? Let's just, so it's clear. All right. Okay, so it doesn't exactly give a exact def, but it gives synonyms, and then you can get the synonym to the definition. So one of them is to rant. Okay, so to speak or declaim extravagantly or violently, talk in a wild or vehement way, to rave. Okay, so it's like you hear people saying ranting and raving. So it's like, you're not to be yelling and arguing and you know, speaking extravagantly or violently, talking wildly loud, just going off basically. So, um, so, um, let's see. So not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise, blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. Okay, so regardless of certain, you're not to entertain it, because so just use wisdom, and know that, knowing that you know you are to inherit a blessing, especially when it comes to disputings and things about the truth and the word. Okay. um so 10. For he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and his lips that they speak no guile. Okay, because when somebody gives you a certain very ignorant and vile response, you can kind of get drawn into that spirit. Once again, why you have to take your armor and keep your armor. Okay, because it's very, very, very easy to get drawn into that. Okay, and so those vain babblings and things like that can only increase unto more ungodliness, and that is a 100% fact. 100% fact. And so you must answer and do things with wisdom. Very important. Okay. For he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and his lips that they speak no guile. Okay, let him eschew evil and do good. Let him seek peace and ensue it. All right, for the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. And who is he that will harm you, if ye be followers of that which is good? Okay, and even listen, and so, and if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye. And be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled, but sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason for the hope that is in you, with meekness and fear. Okay, so this is all about an example and who you're coming in the name of. And so if you're able to control your, I'm gonna go back to Proverbs too, because this is all tying into that. This is very important. A soft answer turns away wrath, but even still, even when dealing with that case, when other people observe that and see that, and that's the whole point, that we're to be blameless. When people give them a reason, and that is of your faith as to why. Okay, because you have hope, and you know what it is that you're seeking. All right. What did it say? Um okay. Where was it? 9, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called. Okay, that ye should inherit a blessing. All right, you know what I mean? So let's go to something on that note to remember. Yeah, okay, and a good precept too. I think I might have it. Yep, I sure do. Precept to 1 Peter 3:12, what we read though. Okay, for the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. Okay, so remember that. When you're in certain situations, just pray about it. Okay, all part of taking that armor. Okay, even right then, you know what I mean, in your heart, saying a prayer, you know what I mean? And I'm telling you, and then you get out that word, you get that sword out, and use that. And I'm telling you, it is, that is your armor. All right. Listen. So the Lord, this is Proverbs 15:29. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. Okay. Um, but I want to go to 16. Okay, I believe it is. Yeah. Yes, this is very important when it comes to with those type things when you speak. Okay, Proverbs 16:32. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. Okay, because that's not an easy thing to do. Um, um, Especially when you're in certain situations where you got to do what the first Peter here is telling you, not rendering evil for evil. Okay. So when you can rule your spirit, all right, it says here, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. And that's wisdom. Okay, because sometimes, as I've often, even with myself, and I've seen that when you get all angry and you get that certain spirit of anger on you, you kind of get uncontrolled. You can't control yourself. All right, which leads to sin. Okay, and things that you can avoid. All right, is peace though. Okay, what we read in 15:1. Okay, a soft answer turneth away wrath. Okay, um, something to remember once again for myself. Okay, and hopefully it can be a blessing to someone else. All right, and when you're in that type of situation, that's why it's telling you though, what it's saying in 16, and I think this is 32. Okay, Proverbs. Yeah, you know that is a hard thing to do when you got some real serious ignorance and wickedness coming at you. Okay. So yeah, but it definitely can be done, and this is why, once again, why I say, with certain things and kinds of things that I would biblically speak on things, because in one situation, and less than a few days later, was presented. I was, another situation came, but I learned from that. And that's why I want to go to James. Back to James. We'll go back to James. Um, uh, because you have to remember once again that I'm gonna go into this, that the adversary knows that he has but a short time, and his whole point is to accuse the brethren, okay, and to tempt, okay. As we said, it's not the Most High that does it, but he will allow the adversary to bring certain temptations to you, because it's about a test. That's why when I mentioned Job before in the last video, why I mentioned Job, because you know, yeah, the Most High does not do that. He does not. Neither does he tempt any man. But I want to go back to James though, because even sometimes you are, going to fall. And as I also, when I mentioned in Proverbs, okay, about a just man. Okay, a just man falls 7 times, but he picks himself up again. All right, yeah, because all right, that's important to remember. Um, let's see, is that was Proverbs, yeah, 24 and 16. 24 and 16. Proverbs 24 and 16. Yeah, so Proverbs 24 and 16. Yet for a just man falleth 7 times and riseth up again, but the wicked shall fall into mischief. And so let's go to James. I want to go to James chapter 1 and verse. Yes, okay. Remember, as I mentioned in part one, though, about the scattered Israelites, and so what James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, as it says here, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. All right, 2, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. Okay, verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. Okay, and 4, but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and interior, wanting nothing. Okay, yeah, so flag about that. Yeah, so in verse 4, yeah, so but let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. So I do reading in the 1611, like things are, the words and things are a little different, but entire, so it complete, you know what I mean? Wanting nothing. And so yeah, it definitely is a joy, because then you learn from that, okay, which I did. And in less for very little time, um another occurrence very similar, uh occurred. And what did I do? I said a prayer to myself, and got that word out, and immediately, when I tell you, when I got to reading, the Most High blessed me, whereas though the scriptures that I needed to see and hear, I immediately turned to. And immediately, that spirit of wanting to, you know I remembered and learned from that other experience. And it was a beautiful thing. And so that is why, once again, I I said that I would wanted to share my thoughts biblically, and kind of um give like a testimony and things, like, for comfort, and hopefully to be able to bless. Like, that's that charity, that's part of that charity and that comfort for each other that we need to have. That also is once again why it's so important to not forsake the assembling together of ourselves, and to comfort each other. That's why that Zephaniah also is just so very important, you know, because we definitely in this, we need each other. We definitely do, for these things right here, to give each other comfort through scripture. And yes, yeah, on that note, I just want to um uh yeah, let's see. Okay, yeah, I could go to Galatians, something, just very very important to remember. I could just do the Galatians chapter 5, pretty much that whole chapter. All right, kind of kind of touches on what I want to go into, but I think um like, as we talked about in the part one, okay, about what fruit it is that you want to bring forth. Okay, so I'll just start at verse 22. But the fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are the Messiahs, or as it says here, that are Christ, have crucified the flesh with the affections of and lust. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. But the main point that I wanted to go to was pretty much 22 through 24. Like, you know, as in times past, like, your response and reaction to certain things should be crucified at that point. Like, you have to remember once again that you are um, representing our Messiah, and that you're coming in his name. And that is the whole point of the adversary, to try to debunk that, and try to, you know, uh, cut short that glory or whatever. Like, I guess not, but so that he's not glorified in you. Like, that's the whole point, to tempt you and to drive you away, so that he can accuse you. Let's go get. I just want to get a few scriptures about that, but I also wanted to go to um first Peter. and 8 though. But let me about the temptation and things. Let's because once again it ties into the Ephesians and what we're up against and what we're dealing with, as I mentioned before in another video. About the adversary knoweth that he has but a short time. So his whole purpose is to, let's go to First Peter 5 and 8, I believe it is. Okay. Because that ties into Job, as I mentioned before. But be sober. This is First Peter 5 and 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. Okay? And so you have to remember that. And therefore you have to take this whole armor with you. Okay? I want to go to let's see, let's see. Yeah, well, let's Bible out, but let's go to Second Peter. Okay. This is the let's actually let's go to let's go to Revelations. Let me get another Bible right here so that I have it all right here. Let's go to Revelations. Um, okay. Revelations. That's something to keep in mind when we're considering Job. We're considering what we just read in verse. Let me make sure too that that was First Peter, because that other Bible I have is stuff missing. I'm gonna warn it out, but yeah, First Peter. Okay, that was First Peter 5 and 8. All right, but and also verse 7 though was very important to remember, considering about giving a soft answer and pretty much turning the cheek and humbling yourself to the point where use wisdom with certain things, because let's see, verse um First Peter 5 and 6. Humble yourselves therefore unto under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Okay. And so yeah, remember that. Okay. Like I said, give it to him, especially when there's certain things that you have to do, which we all have to go out into this world and interact with these people, which is why, like, once again in part one, like I started with, the whole world lies in wickedness. Okay, so you're gonna have to interact and deal with certain things, but you have to use wisdom. um and so you know cast your cares upon him, and give certain things that you don't have control of to him, but humble yourself. That is all so important. That all ties into, as I mentioned in part one, about the Psalms. That is one of the sacrifices that he wants, is that contrite spirit. Okay, humble and meek, you know what I mean? So um yeah, you have to remember that. But I want to go to Revelation. All right, 12. So once again, tying into what we must remember when we're dealing with the adversary, okay, and people who are not dealing with the spirit of our God. That's what can overtake them, okay, and what you're dealing with. So 12, let's go to, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Okay, so this is Revelation 12, um I could I could go to, yeah. Let's just start at go to let's go to 12 first though. This is what I'm up to. All right, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And so once again, that ties into that spirit. Okay, we don't want to be dealing with wrath and like that what we read in Proverbs 16:32. Okay, so he that is slow to anger, okay, um, that's that spirit that we want to come in. But I really want to go to 10, okay, because it's about what the purpose of him is, though. Okay, and let's go to this. And I heard this is verse 10, Revelation 12:10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. Okay? And so that is something to understand. That's the whole point when you're dealing with people coming in the spirit of the adversary. The whole point is to accuse you. All right, so that you can be defamed, okay, so that you can so that it can be said, see, they're not this or that. That's that people dealing in that spirit are dealing in this spirit right here, the spirit of the adversary. And so but once again, this is a spiritual thing. So once you see that, you that is very important that you must remember. Okay, you have to keep that in mind because even the angels, okay, the righteous angels, they don't do that. Let's get I want to go. Let's see. Yeah, I'll go to Jude. I can go to Jude first. I'm not gonna go to Jude first, but it's very important, okay? Because this what you have to remember. That's a wonderful precept too. I got that written here too. That's beautiful. All right, this is Second Peter 2, and uh we could start at 1, but you have to remember too. This is talking about the false prophets, but all these people coming in this spirit, not of the Most High. Okay, let's start at 10. First Peter 2 and 10. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. 11, what I really want to get to. Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusation against them before the Lord. And this is something, once again, fall into what spirit people are coming in, because even in that first occurrence that I was speaking of, that's what took place. Like, railing accusation and bearing false witness, but railing, you know what I mean? Like, it's not this total spirit of the adversary. And but things like that you have to remember, okay? You have to shun those things and don't deal with that, because it turns into vain babbling and foolishness, and it increases into more ungodliness, and that's exactly what happened. But once I took those scriptures out, though, the spirit started to back away totally. But see, the thing was with that, when that part came about, it did increase, because I didn't keep that word open. That's what you have to do. Okay, and so, but why do they do this? See, this is where it's angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusation against them before the Lord. Okay, but these are natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. Okay, and I'm gonna stop there though with that, but something to remember. The point that I wanted to get to about it was the railing and accusation. See, even the angels don't do that. against these ungodly people, what they're doing to those trying to be righteous and things like that. And with the adversaries, the angels of God don't even do that to them. And let's get another example of that. Jude verse 9. Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuked thee. So he didn't even go into you did it, you this, you that, did it, he was like, the Lord rebuked thee. And that's what we have to remember, okay? Because those doing that, that is coming in the spirit of the adversary. All right, wanted to accuse, okay, and things like that. Just as we read in Revelations 12 and 10, was that about or it might have been 12. Okay, the accuser of our brethren is, yeah, 10 is cast down. And something else, like it was another brother that I watch a lot of, I do watch a lot of brothers, but one I believe it was like Victory Manifest, I believe, but I had not even known of. So that was such a blessing to hear that about the book of Enoch, the third Enoch, because in that book it does tell you about that there's even an angels whose job specifically is to just simply destroy all the accusations of the adversary, because he knows that the Most High, they don't want to hear that. Okay, he knows what his purpose he has for his people. Okay, and so yeah, that was a blessing indeed. To find out about that book, but um yeah, so that is something to remember. Um, but let me go to I'm gonna go back to Second Peter. Okay, because on that note though, you know, let's see, yeah, that's that. We have to that goes into the importance of um uh okay, so this is First Peter 1 and 13. Okay, wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yeshua HaMashiach, or says Jesus Christ. All right. 14. As obedient children, not fashioning yourselves according to the former lust in your ignorance. Okay. I go to 15. But as he which hath called you is holy, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation, because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy. Okay. Um, and that is, like as I mentioned in part one of this, okay, that's 100% something that you must remember. Um, that's just point blank. That's what we have to remember about who we are or representing, um, in any and everything that we do. All right. But I also want but even still though, once again though, when we do, as I went to James, like, you know, remember, you have to count it joy when you do fall into diverse temptations, because that learning experience. Because let's go to I'm gonna go back to Peter, Second Peter, because the thing about it is, that's exactly what it is though. And this goes into also why I'm doing this, and why also I want to reiterate again, like, the importance of, for number one, in truth and sincerity, but gathering ourselves together. Okay, because we need to comfort each other, and we need to this, this is what we need for each other. To remind each other of these things, and that it is going to be okay, and that, being righteous and good, it is the right way. All right, period. Let's go to 2 and 9, because this is 2 Peter 2:9. The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. So he knows how to deliver the godly out of temptations. But sometimes you fall into temptations because this is a fiery trial. It and it's to be counted joy, so that you can learn, and you can also encourage your brethren, and also for yourself. So yeah, that's very important to remember that um, as well. So I want to go to, I think I 100. This is 100% so important as to why I say, well, why I like, I don't say why I like to go to um, Zephaniah 2, but let's go here. This is Galatians 6:1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Okay? Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. All right? Um, I could go on, but that's just 100% right there. Okay, that's so very important, because this us being in this truth and really being true followers and um, um, disciples of our Messiah. Okay, that is what He commanded us to do, was to love one another. Okay, and that is love. Okay, that is that true charity. Let's go to back. Let's go back to First Peter. Okay. Um. Yeah, I did. All praises. Turn right to it. Okay. So First Peter 1:22. Um. Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren, see that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently. Okay. Um. And that's just 100% just what we have to do for each other. All right. I want to get something else too. Okay, First Peter 4:8. Okay, and above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. All right, use hospitality one to another without grudging. All right. And then I already went to 11 though. That was very good though, about speaking as the oracles of God. Okay, that's what we must remember to do. Um, so let's see. I want to get something else because, all right, because also, what I wanted to before, to mention, um, this is very important too. Okay, First Peter 2:12. Having your see, this is why it's so important though. Having your conversation honest among the Gentiles, that whereas they speak against you as evildoers, they may, by your good works, which they shall behold, glorify God in the day of visitation. 13. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, okay, whether it be to the king as supreme, or unto governors, as unto them that are sent by him, for the punishment of evildoers, and for the praise of them that do well. And that's a good precept in I believe that's Romans. Um, all right, being subject unto the powers that be, because they were ordained by the Most High for the purpose of 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 those evildoers and things like that, because the Most High said he uses men, okay, um, as his sword. All right. So all tying into this situation with our people, in the first place being chastised and put under the other nations. Okay. But so that's important to remember that. But what I really want to get to, okay, um, 15. For so is the will of God, that with well doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. All right. Um, 16, as a well, as for that part of it, but as free, and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of God. All right. 17. Honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear the Most High, honor the King. All right. Now, understanding that what brethren and what brotherhood this is that we are of is, let's get that. Okay, let's let the Messiah tell you. Okay, so this is Mark 3 and um 31. I could start it. There came then his brethren and his mother, and standing without sent unto him, calling him. And the multitude, verse 32, and the multitude said about him, and they said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren without seek for thee. 33, and he answered them, saying, Who is my mother or my brethren? 34, and he looked round about on them which sat about him, and said, Behold, my mother and my brethren. Okay? 35. For whosoever shall do the will of God, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother. And I want to go to Matthew 12. All praises I turn right to. All right, 12 and 30. All right. No, not 30, but where is it? 50. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right, we'll start at 46. While he yet talked, because we want to understand what God he's talking about here. This is why precepts are important. Okay, so while he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood about him, desiring to speak with them. Then was said unto him, Behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, Who is my mother, and who are my brethren? 49. And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, Behold, my mother and my brethren. So understand that also the disciples are students, but when we went into Mark, it told you the people that sat about him, okay? Also, so you know what I'm saying? So he this is who is his family, this is his brethren, this is what he's telling you, okay? For whosoever shall do the will of my Father. Now we read in Mark it said of God, so we understand he's talking about God the Father. So whoso shall do the will of my Father, once again, which is what he was sent to do. So I'm gonna go to one more thing and I'm gonna end it. Okay, so for whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. So that's the brotherhood that we need to love, be loving. And how do we know? Once again, as I often like to go to, how do we know? Okay, what example did our Messiah give um, us? Okay, so you see, I'm gonna start at verse 15. For I have given you an example. This is Saint John chapter 13 and 15. For I have given you an example that ye should do as I have done to you. Okay. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. If you know these things, happy are ye if you do them. Okay. So very important. And I want to go to um I'm going to jump to I could go to 33 though. Little children. Okay, so once again tying into when we read in Matthew 18 about what what children you're talking about, but it's talking about his disciples and his servants. Okay, little children, yet a little while I am with you. Ye shall seek me, and as I said unto the Jews, whither I go, ye cannot come. So now I say to you, 34, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Okay, that ye also love one another. So understand that also that part in there. More than just loving one another, but loving one another as he have loved us. Okay, understanding that the greatest amongst us is our servant. Okay, that's the way we should look at each other, though. Even though we have spiritual blessings, certain leadership and things like that, but understand that, as he said, understand that somebody that's sent to lead you is also what is your servant. Okay, And none is greater than him, and he, the greatest, washed the feet of his disciples. So that's something to understand, okay? A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, okay? That ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have loved one to another. So this is that brotherhood, and this is that brotherly love that we um you know um need to have for one another. And but even once again, I just wanted to once again share my thoughts biblically on certain things, because what I wanted to say was, like I mentioned, like when another circumstance was presented to me very similar, very shortly, immediately after that, pretty much, when I went into the word and I prayed and I went into the word and I could get that spirit immediately, um like it was totally rebuked. You know what I mean? One understand that this is spiritual, and so hopefully, um, that I need to hear it, and hopefully that I was blessed and that someone else was blessed with this. And once again, that goes into the importance of 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 doing this for each other and gathering together. I just want to get that too. Okay, because it is very important. Truth and sincerity, though, that makes all the difference. That makes all the difference. So let's go to okay, yeah. So this is Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be you shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. Okay, and so that is just just oh so 100% important when and also all time into the charity um and the comfort and all and the way that we're supposed to deal with each other. um just 100% makes just all the difference, all the difference. And so hopefully someone was blessed. I truly was. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.